Hello, Oracles. Oracle, Tim here from Oracle Investments. So the market's still not looking pretty, but the Dow really took a hit today. Omicron fears spreading everywhere seem to be really putting pressure on the stock market and all of these travel plays, everything like that. S&P's way down. NASDAQ ended up about flat, but it took a hard hit yesterday, so it was time for that to cool off. And so when you pair that with still the recovery from the Fed news as to what's going on with their decision, end of the year buying and selling and rebalancing going on, it just led to some uncertainty. So I think for the next week or so, seeing as it's a short week, the next 2 weeks, might see a little bit, we might see some growth because maybe at the end of the year people will buy back in. Otherwise, I think we will see some growth going into 2022. And now, as the market is going red as it is, and we see some of our favorites like Tesla, which has definitely been on a downtrend, going as red as they are, you want to kind of do the opposite of what your natural emotional reactions are going to be. When the stocks are going red, and you start to get this fear of, should I sell? Should I sell? Am I going to lose all of my money? Remind yourself, you do not gain or lose any money until you sell. So if the stocks are going red and you sell because you're afraid of losing more, you're not actually losing until you make that sale. So if you sell when it's red, you have lost. If you have conviction in a stock like Tesla and you feel like it's going to come back and be green in the next 1, 2, 3, 5 years, don't sell when it's red. That's when you lose. If it's red, that's when you want to buy, because when you buy, that's when you're going to get the largest return on your investment. So for instance, if you bought a stock at $15 and it goes down to $10, if you bought it at $10 instead of $15 and that stock goes to $30, instead of you making 2 times your money, you'll make 3 times your money. So that's why you want to buy when it's red instead of sell when it's red. Because if you bought at 15 and then sold it at 10, you lost 30% of your money. But if you instead buy in more at $10, you'll then lower your dollar cost average to $12.50. And then if the stock goes to 30, you're now 2.5 times your money. And so that's the psychological game and discipline you need to have within yourself. So yes, we know Tesla stock is coming down. Yes, we know it's painful, especially if you bought in $1,100, $1,200. It stinks. But one thing my father always taught me is pay attention and ask yourself, where do you think the stock is going? So if you're looking at Tesla and you bought it at $1,100, if you bought in at $1,100 because you thought the stock was going to $1,500, well, just the fact that it's $930 today doesn't mean it's not going to $1,500 anymore. It just means you need to wait a little bit longer. And if you bought more here at $932, you would lower your dollar cost average down below where you were at the $1,100 initially. And so then you wouldn't even have to go as high to get yourself profitable again. And when it gets to $1,500, you'll make even more money. But 2 very important rules to have when you're investing are invest with a plan and do not invest with emotions. I hope that helps a lot of you out there who are kind of suffering through some pain with Tesla's stock coming down, the stock market going red. I want to reiterate to you guys that it's okay. This is natural. Stock markets fluctuate. They go up and they go down, especially at the end of the year. So, hold on. You can say diamond handing, but really just take your emotions out. Remind yourself, why is it that I invested in the companies that I am invested in? Where do I think they're going? And if you think that they're going to be going higher and you foresee them doing well in the future, it's okay. Let the stocks go red. If you can buy more, buy more. If you can't, just ride it out. You are going to be okay. So let's get into some stocks individually now. I've had a couple of requests, so I will go over those as well. And we'll dive into some other ones that we've been tracking all as well. The first one I'm going to jump into is NEO. I've actually held this one for a while. I had a request to go over it today. And I bought into NEO right before COVID hit at around $4. COVID hit, it dropped down to $2. I was so mad at myself because I bought in at 4 and I was losing all my money because I was still investing with emotions back then. And so I bought a little bit more at 2 to lower my dollar cost average and was just hoping to get green so that I can make some profits and get out without losing money. And I did. I made like $30 or $40 on it. It was decent for my portfolio at the time. And then I kind of fell off my radar. I didn't pay attention to it. And look at where we are now. So I bought back into NEO at like 55 because, again, I hadn't learned my lesson and I bought when it was green, and it is now down to 30. So I've lowered my dollar cost average on it. I still think it's going to do well long term, but right now there is so much FUD going on with it. You know, it's out of favor with EV stocks. It's out of favor because it's a Chinese stock. It's out of favor because it's a high growth stock, and we're about to have interest rates go up. So there's not a lot going for NEO right now. It does have NEO Day coming on Monday, but I think there's so much negativity and it's so far out of favor right now. I don't know if NEO Day is going to be enough to spark it and really boost it much. We'll see. It did last year, but last year EVs were really more in favor. So I'm not holding my breath looking for anything amazing coming out of it. NEO has been on a downtrend, but $30 seems to be a very solid support for it. We'll see what happens Monday with NEO Day. I'm still going to hold this long term because I think the Chinese EV companies are going to be sort of like the next wave of the Japanese car companies, as Sandy Munro had mentioned. So it's my only Chinese play. I'll hold it and see what happens. My next request was CRISPR. CRISPR is a favorite of Cathie Wood and ARK. It's in a lot of the ARK funds, the ARK Genomic Fund, ARK-G to be specific. It was up like 8% today, so it's been on a nice upward trend. For me, the genomic plays are one of those things. It's like a hydrogen play. It's like a 10-year out play. I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be the future of our healthcare. So we're still early on in this. I personally have biogenomics, BNGO. It was more of a momentum play for me. I'm now down on it, kicking myself for that. I should have gotten out of it sooner. But if you're looking at a long-term play like this, if you're going to be in one, be in the best. CRISPR is the best. And so if you are going to invest in one, be in that. It's on its uptrend. Again, I don't know how long the uptrend is going to last. Again, CRISPR, great play long term, I feel. If you are unsure about genomic plays and you're looking for something kind of encompasses all of them, ARK-G is a great one to get into. Otherwise, I'm going to sit and just see how the genomic sector goes, and I'll ride it out from here. Another one we've been tracking for the last few days is AQN. AQN is definitely on an uptrend. It made a higher high and a higher low today. It broke from that downtrend a couple of days ago, so it could definitely be on a reversal right now. I will keep monitoring this and see how it goes day to day. So as long as we are making a higher high and a higher low every day, we are on an uptrend, and if we see a third and fourth one, that might be a good time to buy. BEP is another one that I like. I own that one in both my regular portfolio and in my IRA. It's a nice stock that gives you dividends. The stock actually plummeted recently down to $33, is now on an uptrend up to $35.50 today. So I added a little bit more to that into my IRA. So if you're looking for a renewable energy play, BEP is one of the better ones. And a stock that did not keep its uptrend going is AMD. AMD fell about 1% today, but it started its uptrend the last 2 days, broke it today. It made a lower low and a lower high. So I'm going to look to see if maybe we're going to go into a consolidation phase right around the 137 mark. I'll monitor this one. Again, I got into AMD when it was $15, made some good profits on it, got out of it, got back into it around $80, sold a little bit there. My average cost on it is about $90. So I'm good with this one. I like AMD long term. I think it's going to be similar to an NVIDIA play. So I'll ride it out, hoping for maybe a split in a couple of years. I'm not going to get super attached to it, but I definitely will give it a long leash before I decide to sell it. And finally, Tesla. So Tesla was a little bit green today. We saw a bit of a boost earlier in the day. It was actually up almost 3%, especially after the news from Elon. But the very important thing that happened today with Tesla was it filled the gap. Early morning, it dropped down to 909. That gap is now filled. So we do not have to worry about that in the long term. But what we do have to think about is the fact that Elon sold yesterday. There is word that Elon is definitely going to finish his sales before the end of the year. This means that he has 3 more sales to do in the next 2 weeks. We have 2 short weeks of trading. Next week is a 4-day week, and then the following week is a 4.5-day week. So whether he does 2 sales next week and 1 the following week, or 1 next week and 2 the following, will be up to the future and see what happens. But I think he will still finish it. If he does 2 sales next week, it could be ugly. And when I say ugly, it's a temporary ugly and a great opportunity to be ugly. Because if we see 2 sales next week, we might see the stock dip below $900, get down to that 870 support before it comes back with Elon's final sale in the last week, and then we see a nice surge of purchasing coming into the new year. Of course, we won't know this until we get into next week, but it's always good to be prepared if you are looking for a buying opportunity, or for those of you who are just trying to ride this out and you're paying attention and the red has been making you panic. Just know that this is potentially what's coming, and this is also going to be temporary. So if you see it go even more red than we have been, it's okay. We are on a downtrend. We are recognizing this, but we know why we are on a downtrend, and it's totally okay. Let me know in the comments below if there are any stocks that you would like me to review and go over. I will gladly add them to my list and review them on a daily basis. And if I always add them to my watch list, so I will keep them on there. I keep tracking them, so I'll try to keep you guys updated on them regularly because I know that you're invested in them, so I'll try to keep you up to date on them as well. And don't forget, tomorrow morning I will be putting a video out with our 2,000 subscriber giveaway. One of these 2 hats. Let's see. And it may not be these specific ones. I will try to do my best, but depending on where you live in the world, I may not be able to ship them to you, but I will definitely get you something. So all you'll need to do is be a subscriber, comment on the video that I post in the morning. It'll be all noted on there for that. And then I will do the drawing on Sunday evening, Eastern time. And I'll do a live drawing so this way you guys can all see who the winner is. And this weekend I will also be putting out a couple of videos. One about the entire stock market and where I think it's going to trade next year, my bear, bull, and base case scenarios. I'm going to do a whole separate one specifically for Tesla as well. So I'll have both of those out this weekend. Otherwise, I will see you guys all later. Thank you so much for your support and feedback. You're all awesome. Have a great one.